Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me at the TEDx Christ conference. It's a pleasure to be here and address these young and beautiful people in front of me and talk about a term that has been the most discussed in the industry around the world across verticals. And it's the term that is so crucial for where we are today. It's to learn to be who is this 21st century thought leader and how do we become one? So, I want to formally introduce myself. My name is Ashwarya, and I currently lead international recruitment for Teach for India. I'm here to really share my experience with you, and having taken this journey myself and initiated this path, I wanted to explore my learnings and really see, do you find the endurance and influence that I have found through this path? And I want to start by talking about a really crucial term, which is thought leader. Who is this thought leader? So, David Wilcox, who's the founder of ReadScale, has defined that a thought leader is now someone who thinks in the system, who's working to inspire others, as well as be involved in the system to build a network of leaders. So, the 20th century literature, which was crucial and around the rhetoric that you had to be this topmost hierarchical position holder to lead people, has been rechallenged, and we're rethinking that path. And it's also a very, very multidimensional and integrated view of how leadership is rooted in relationship building. And I'm going to talk to you more about it as to why I think this is so relevant in this day and age. Now, what does this mean to be a thought leader in the 21st century? We live in challenges all around us. Look around us. We live in paradoxes. Let me give you an example. Most countries, or some countries, show reflecting statistics that are living paradoxes of the challenges that we carry. You could have the highest growing GNP in the world, you could have the highest foreign investments in the world, but you could still display low female labor force participation statistics, low employment statistics. And yes, you guessed that correct, that is India in this case. But each country, each scenario, each narrative is as difficult as the other. And how do we become these change makers that we aspire to be? And how do we find relevance in our purpose when we're constantly surrounded by challenges that are driving us to spaces where we hit roadblocks? Well, we haven't answered all of it, but some of it has shown us some clear direction that it is indeed the people who take the roles of leaders in demographies and spaces around them, engage with ground learnings and experiences, and enter the ecosystems they want to change, are truly the leaders that found their purpose and their legacy in the world today. These are people who are able to build their passion because they're willing to engage with people on a one-to-one level and really understand the thought that they're going to change. Because you've identified it. But how do you want to change it? And how do you want to be the leader that you think you deserve to be? And that's the beauty of this. Don't just take it from me, though. I know I've just met you and I'm just talking to you, but someone really credible has done some study on it, and I want to share that video with you for 1 or 2 minutes to see bits of what they're trying to tell us.
I think the leadership requirements over the next 10 years are going to be very challenging and to some extent quite different from the past. We are living in quite turbulent times. We all know that. I think what's more critical to understand or at least accept is there are big tectonic shifts, if you will, gravitational forces underway. The rise of the East or of the emerging markets versus the West, the plethora of technology and what that's doing, the disruptions, the opportunities and so forth that's going on, which we're seeing literally on a day-to-day basis, the aging population, the scarcity of resources. There's each one of these is massive in itself, and they're all happening together. So I think we just have to accept we're living in a very volatile period as we shift into this new century. And I think that's going to have, new demands on leadership. A couple that I think about a lot are the following. One is, while there's a lot of volatility and short-term changes going on, you can become obsessed with that because there's a lot to do and it's going to get worse in terms of dealing with issues. You've got to keep a long-term lens. You have to at the same time think out 5 to 10 years. Where do I want to take this organization? In spite of all these changes, where where can we win? Where can we be successful? And it's likely going to be quite different from where we are today, and that will take time. So this notion of keeping a short lens and a long lens. The second element of this is this notion of being the strong, powerful voice that's going to be very decisive and say where things go is like a misnomer. Things are moving so quickly, you're going to have to work with multiple leaders. There's no way one person can absorb and deal with all of the issues that are coming up. So this notion of building a network of leaders in your organization to be able to deal with the opportunities and also the issues is going to be vitally important.
All right, I'm going to stop there. Thank you for being with me to watch that video. And I'm going to take this thought forward. So McKinsey did a report in 2011 where they redefined their rhetoric around leadership and how they wanted to engage with the people that were working with them and around them. And something Dominic said, who is the managing director at McKinsey, said was very interesting and led a few factors. That you have to be understanding of what a turbulent time it is to work in a space which is leadership centric. It is also important to keep your long-term goals in mind, and it is very crucial to work in a space which is working for systemic change rather than transactional orders or growth. And what does it mean to be the change maker for your own problem? What will be different if you were the one solving the problem that you identified? And I think that I can draw this beautifully to the fellowship program that we have at Teach for India. When fellows from all over the world enter a classroom full of 40 kids who have so much energy, so much life, so much belief, and you enter that classroom, hold autonomy of that ecosystem completely to bring that change that you're really passionate about, you're really addressing these three issues. You're really working with limited resources and working to innovate. You're working in a system of leaders. We believe in systemic change. With you, there are numerous other fellows working for the same change, working for the same cause, and creating this ecosystem where the purpose is at the light of your work and leaving a legacy behind for it. You're also working with a long-term cause. You're working with the cause of treating the issues that you've identified, but also really developing your skills and purpose with that. So think about it. Do you want to address something in a transactional manner, go for that job that you think is safe, work for that agency because you think it's going to pay well? Or is it time to really redefine our choices and really redefine what do we really want to be in the next 10 years, in the 20 years? What do we really want to be known for? Because that's the leadership that is flourishing and changing the world today. Harvard Business School did this interview with their cohort this year, where they asked their graduates, what do you want to be? What is your long-term plan? And all of them implied that they wanted to change the world. When asked specifically what they wanted to do, they were all vague, and that's almost the best business school in the world. So what is this ambiguity around leadership that we're facing? And how do we gather our thoughts to really address it? And I'm going on and on about the thought leaders of the 21st century, and here are a few that the Forbes magazine listed. Jeff Bezos, who's the CEO of Amazon, Wendy Cobb, who's the CEO of Teach for All and founded Teach for America, and Sheryl Sandberg, who's the CEO of Facebook and is an author. Now, all of them are doing fundamental work in this premises they wanted to enter. They are leading companies, they're running organizations. But something really beautiful and common is in their ethos. They're also leading a community of leaders. They're building a network they're so passionately about and addressing issues that they wanted to engage with in hardcore, that they're not just limiting their skills to themselves, but are actually creating an ecosystem that is going to flourish and exist in the world. And how beautiful is that? So think about it. Why can't you find that issue and really work for it in a space? And maybe take that leap of faith that you think in short term is going to challenge you, but in long term is going to leave you with a graph and a growth that you'd always dreamed about. I also wanted to address that, given that I wanted to share my experience in the Teach for India Fellowship, how do we really connect the thoughts? How are we producing thought leaders in the Teach for India Fellowship program? So the Forbes magazine identified 5 core spaces that the thought leaders have in common, which is one, they see opportunity in everything, they anticipate the unexpected, they strive for excellence, innovation should be their second nature, and they lead to leave a legacy. I can promise you, you can interact with anyone at Teach for India, especially the fellows who have entered these classrooms, that we fill these 5 buckets and more. If you're entering the classroom for the first time and are in charge of 40 people and the stakeholders and the community and the beyond the issue at hand, educational inequity, you're going to have to find opportunity in everything because we don't have enough people working for it. We don't have enough resources for it. You will have to anticipate the unexpected, which is beautiful because that's where magic is created, right? When did the schedule give us the result we wanted? When is the schedule give us that breakthrough moment that we wanted? It is essentially in the anticipated that we create miracles. Teach for India's core value is striving for excellence, and we truly believe in it. And if you're working in this ecosystem, you will have to innovate constantly. We also have a section in our curriculum which is called Be the Change Project, and it is indeed rooted in innovation. And when you're working in a growth pattern like this, you're going to live for a legacy. A legacy, which is the 40 kids that you're going to have who are going to grow to be economists, doctors, politicians, authors, writers, whatever they want to be, because you decided to take that leap of faith. And you have created that ecosystem that makes you the true leader that you deserve. So I want to close this session by really leaving you with a thought. Take this time, this end time, this graduating time, the confusing time, to redefine yourself and your skills, to really decide that you want to be the narrator of your own story and you're not going to hand it to some MNC or some private org for them to tell. You're going to take charge of your ecosystem and take that leap of faith in whatever form you wish to help bring the light that we're so passionate about. Thank you everyone so much for having me, and I'm so excited to interact with you further.